This is Unit 1, Lesson 9, Moves in Parallel. And this is actually Activity 1, which is called Line Moves. What you're supposed to do is move line L, which has points A and B on it, using a transformation, either a translation, a rotation, or a reflection. Actually, you're supposed to use all three, and move that line L to line L prime, so the green line. All right, so let's look at a translation first. The translation is pretty easy. You're just going to move this 1, 2, 3 units down, A and B, and that's going to move line L to line L prime. Just move it down, and you've translated line L to L prime. All right, what about a reflection? Now, reflection is that you have to move points A and B over a line of reflection, which has to be halfway between, in a perpendicular direction to that line of reflection. A lot of words there, but you have to find the line of reflection, which is halfway in between. You have to draw that line. So the way to do that is to draw a perpendicular line from A and a perpendicular line from B, and then find the midpoints. Now you can use docere to find the midpoints. So I'm going to just get rid of the extra part of that, and I'm going to use docere. I'm just going to take a line in docere, and it will snap to the midpoint in each case. So it snaps to the midpoint, snaps to the midpoint. And so now if I just connect those midpoints and extend that line out, that is a line of reflection. It is midway, halfway, between line L and L prime. So reflection is just now a movement in a perpendicular direction to its corresponding point, which is an equal distance away on the other side. So that's one distance, and that's the equal distance. It's moving at a right angle or in a perpendicular direction, and so that's moving line L to L prime. So that is a reflection. All right, so what about a rotation? So you're going to rotate this line 180 degrees, so it ends up over here. So if you rotate a line around the midpoint between its corresponding points 180 degrees, it will end up being a parallel line exactly the equal distance away from the beginning line. All right, so center of rotation is the midpoint between the corresponding points. Now you can make those corresponding points actually anywhere. So there's the midpoint. It's the same line as the line of reflection. It's the same line, but this is the midpoint between line L and L prime. And so now I have to draw, place the corresponding points, and you can choose anywhere to do that. I'm going to place point B prime here, but the center of rotation then has to be halfway in between. It's the midpoint, so it's right there. And it's going to be the same for A to A prime. So this is going to be the center of rotation. It's the halfway or midpoint between the corresponding points. Just to prove the point, I'm going to choose a different center of rotation. I'm just going to move it down a little bit and place A double prime here and B double prime here. So you connect those two corresponding points, and the center of rotation is going to be the midpoint between them. Actually, let's look at just this one. So I'm going to draw the circles around which the points are going to rotate. So A is going to go to A double prime, and B is going to go to B double prime. And so they're connected. They're the same line segment, so they have to move together as they rotate around. And so this is rotating on A, and this is rotating. This is the circle on which B is rotating. So get all the way around, forms a line that's parallel and an equal distance on the other side. Now I've realized that if I divide the distance that each travels into fractions, so A goes to A double prime, so if I divide that into fourths, 1/4, 1/2, it's right here, it's a 90-degree angle, and 3/4, and then the whole amount, And if I do the same thing for B to B double prime, so 1/4, 1/2, and 3/4, and these points are connected as they rotate around. So this is going to rotate 1/4 of the way. So it's going to go to here, and on A it's going to go 1/4 of the way, and then it's going to go halfway around. So now it's halfway around and it's halfway around. A little bit easier to draw it this way. 3/4 of the way, 3/4 of the way, and then the whole way. And so I started realizing, well, let's do this one more time using point C. So I'm going to rotate around the center of rotation is the midpoint between the corresponding points. So this is A double prime, and now I've added C prime here. So the midpoint between them is right here on that same line. So now if I add the circles, so I'm going to just place dots. So this is halfway around. It's a 90-degree angle, goes halfway. This is 1/4 of the way around and 3/4 of the way around. And those are two 45-degree angles, by the way. And then for C, halfway around, it forms a 90-degree angle. So it's pretty easy to place that right here. And then half of that half, or 1/4 of the way, is a 45-degree angle. It's right here and right here. And so now if I connect those points and rotate, this is 1/4 of the way around, 1/2 of the way around, 3/4 of the way around, and then the whole way around, 180-degree rotation. A little bit more detail than what the activity is asking for, but it's good to review, good to think about. All right, the next figure, same idea. Move from line L to L prime using a translation, a rotation, reflection. I don't know how to use a translation. Translations is just moving in a horizontal or vertical direction, diagonally, but this requires a turn or a reflection. So translation, I don't think you can do. But here's a reflection. So the line of reflection is the midpoint between the corresponding points. Well, on that reflection, B is going to go to here. This is going to be B prime, and C is going to go to here. This is going to be C prime. So halfway in between, moving at a right angle, is this line of reflection is halfway in between. And so each corresponding point is going to move in a perpendicular direction to that line of reflection. All right, so B is going to go here. It's perpendicular and it's equal distance. So this is a perpendicular or 90-degree angle with the line of reflection. It's the equal distance to here and then to here. And C travels that same distance to here and then an equal distance to get to C prime. And so you do that reflection, you end up with this light blue line, and a little bit easier to see if I shade it in. So I'm going to shade these portions in, and we did these kinds of reflections a little bit earlier, reflected a whole image rather than just a line. And so that you can see that this part of this image reflects to here, and this part of this image reflects to here. And so it is right there. So that's a reflection. Now what about a rotation? So what's going to happen in this case is this line is going to rotate to this line, so it's going to take B to B prime and C to C prime as they rotate around. So it starts to rotate. This is about a 90-degree rotation right here. So if you look at this line to here, that's a 90-degree angle. So that would be about a 90-degree rotation. So that means that this whole rotation has to be more than 90 degrees. Well, another 45 degrees would be halfway. This is a little bit less than halfway. Halfway, 90 plus 45 is equal to 135 degrees. A little bit less than that. So this is between 125 and 130 degrees. Add this 90 plus another 35 to 40 degrees, basically. Not 45, it doesn't go all the way. All right, so it rotates around. So let's call it a 130-degree rotation. So that's a 130-degree rotation going from this light blue line to now where this red line ends up, or it was the green line.